My book's called Earn Your Story. So tonight I just want to talk to you a little bit about stories. I want you to talk about what is a story and how do we earn a great life story. I liked what the young lady up here said. She said that Arizona was going to be something she remembers the rest of her life. And as teachers, that's what we try to do, right? We want to insert things into young people's lives that we hope for the rest of their life has an impact. So what makes a story captivating? What makes a story, capture us? Let's break down a story. If you think about, stories we grew up on and stories that we were raised on, I won't talk about the stories I was raised on because that wouldn't make any sense to a lot of people in the room. But if you think about these stories, there was always an ordinary person. And they realized that they were going to be tasked with an extraordinary task. And that's what made it so captivating, right? Is that, I'm ordinary, you're ordinary, and so we empathize with them. And so this main character that we learn about, they realize that they're going to accomplish something great. And they're like, there's no way I can do this. I don't have the skills, I don't have the people around me. I'm not ready for that moment yet. But then they start seeking out advice from people. They start asking questions. They start looking for people that maybe have accomplished the task before them. And so a guru or a guide or a mentor come into their life and they start to, hey, you're going to be okay. Let me train you in this, right? You think maybe like Luke Skywalker or something like that, right? And Obi-Wan Kenobi comes into his life and he trains him. He tells him, you can do this. This huge task that you don't think you can do this. And so we get more context on the ordinary person to know that they have some internal battle going on. And then now they have an enemy that they have to overcome. And then once they finish, once they defeat the enemy and the extraordinary happens, well, usually for most of us, that's where the story ends, right? The book closes, the credits roll. But I've always been a person that always thought, well, what's next? I mean, it wasn't the end of their life, right? We always heard happily ever after. But what really is next? Like, what happened at the end of that story for the rest of their life? It's like kind of tonight. Like, this could be either the end of your story. Oh, I accomplished National Honor Society. Yes. Well, or it could be the beginning of your story. It could be the one feat that you've accomplished that actually is just a chapter in your life story. So, I want to give you 3 things tonight that I believe will help you earn the greatest life story ever told. And I know that's tough, right? Because I remember sitting in the seat and thinking about when I'm like 16, 17, and 18, and looking at the guy on stage and being like, man, he is old. And I hear him talking, and I don't know that I believe everything he's saying. But I want to put it in perspective for you. So if you're 16, raise your hand. We got some young ones. If you're 10, raise your hand. Any 10-year-olds in the audience? We got 1 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. Sorry, I forgot 15. That's why I wasn't the National Honor Society. 16, 17, 18. Okay. So if you think about this like portion of your life, right? And I get it, it's hard. Like I grew up in Missouri. I went to school here. I graduated with 33. I work in a school now that has 3,000. The graduating classes are sometimes 800 kids. It's a little different perspective, right? You walk through the halls and you almost feel like you're going to get mugged, like you're at like some sporting event, the World Cup or something, right? And so I think sometimes we get like almost these blinders on. And I think the world's changed for you guys because you have a cell phone. Like the only cell phone I had was a Nokia phone that I could play Snake on. There was no color. That probably dates me a little bit. So what happens is if you think about your life, like our 10-year-old in the room, the average lifespan is 78 in the world. That means you have 68 more years. Our 18-year-old, if you think about it, you're almost 20, right? If you think about living until you're 80 years old. Now it puts in perspective how much time you have, right? Now it puts in perspective when I say I'm 35, hey man, I still got another 40 years in me. That puts it in perspective. Because I think sometimes we get so caught up in the moment of what we're doing that we don't think about, I've got the rest of my life ahead of me. I know it's a daunting task. We have people in the room, that are 50 years old and 60 years old and 70 years old. They still have plenty of time ahead of them to earn a great life story. So I want to give you 3 things about earning a great life story. The first one, this is huge. This is one of those, like, if you fall asleep after this, okay? Because I think this is one of the most impactful things that I've learned in my life since I graduated high school here. We have to come to a point as a person in life of self-awareness, of self-reflection. And we don't do it often. We don't do it often enough. And the reason why we don't do it is because it's a little scary to have to look at myself in the mirror. To have to think about the decisions I made and like, why am I at this point? But as a young person, we should reflect more, we should be aware more of why we believe the things we believe. I've always said the first step to success is belief. That's really out of your bed, but first step to success is belief. If you believe in yourself, you can accomplish a whole lot more, because the quote goes, if you believe you can do it or you can't, you will be correct. That's the quote. So the first step in earning a great life story is self-reflection, self-awareness. You can become more aware of who you are. So let me just give you a little scenario, because I think it's important for me to paint a picture. I think young people now, the reason why we love Instagram is because it's show and tell, it's not just tell, right? So I'm going to paint a picture for you the best I can. So if you think about a young kid that's 16 years old, that plays on one of the sports teams here, let's say he plays soccer, because that's kind of my first love. If his coach tells them each day, you're the slowest kid on the team. You're slow, and you're slow. You're really slow, right? I mean, Coach Nelson told me that a couple times, but you're slow. You're slow, right? You're just slow, man. You got to make up for it. You're slow. What happens to a person that's told they're slow enough times? They begin to believe it. So let's take it even on a larger scale. Parents in the room. How often are you speaking into your kid's life to really tell them anything really is possible? How often is it us that is just on our kids like, you could do better, you could do better, you could do better, you're not good enough yet, you're not good enough yet. Are you a leader? Man, why can't you be more like your older brother? When you think about that, if a young person hears that enough, they develop a belief system in their head that I'm not good enough. Now here's the thing, they're not going to tell you that in the moment. You know why? Because those things pop up in defining moments. Think about that for a second. In defining moments of your life is where the system that's programmed in my head pop up. So if I say, hey, I need you to lead this sales meeting today, it's like, oh, my parents told me I was a really bad speaker. Or I've never had success in speaking. My big one, sorry to hurt any educators out there, but I hate it when a kid tells me I'm a bad test taker. Oh, I hate that. I'm just a bad test taker. Because they've already lost the battle of the test, right? They're telling themselves, it's self-prophecy. I am not good at this. Well, then of course you're not going to be good at that. So the first step to earning a great life story for everybody in the room is to figure out, what are these stories I keep telling myself? Because let me tell you this, until you break that script, you're not going to earn anything different than where you are today. If you're a business owner, you run a business, you run a corporation, right? And you tell yourself, man, I just can't really grow the business the way I want to. I can't get our business out of debt. And it's a lot of things that you can't do. I promise you'll never do it. Because it's the stories we tell ourselves. So I want you to think about this, parents and teachers that are in the room. If we can help our young people figure out these stories earlier, then we can break the cycle now. We can open up the possibilities of what they can achieve. They can quit telling themselves the same stories. And look, the other thing on this is that I know I've talked about the negatives, let me talk about the positive. If you're telling your kid positive stories, if you're telling your young girls, hey, you could be the next president of the United States, and you truly believe that. And you're not telling them they're bossy. The next book I'm working on is called We Need More General Letters. Because I believe we're at a time in our lives right now we need to be empowering our young people, especially our young girls. And we need to be telling them, hey, you're not bossy, you're a leader. You're going to be a general someday. If we infuse that in them, now that story clicks when a little boy says, quit bossing me, they're like, I'm actually a leader, I'm going to be great, someday I'm going to be your boss. It changes the story in their head. The second thing is when we get to a defining moment in life, and I'm talking about tragedy, I'm talking about a positive defining moment, we fall back on our training. I find it interesting that when you look through the Bible talks a lot about training up our kids in the Word. It talks about you got to train for the race of life. It talks about training. There's a kid I met just a week ago. My organization called Watson Innovative Group, what we do is we work with young people on some of the stuff I'm talking about. We try and help them figure out what are these belief systems. Because I find in America, and it may be a little different at College Heights here because most of us are believers here, right? So we speak to our kids a little more honestly. But at the school I'm at, which is a secular school, the parents believe the school is going to help their kids figure out life. And the school says, well, I don't really want to talk about too many personal things because the parents might get mad. So what happens? We have 17-year-olds taking advice from 17-year-olds. Woo. Like, I just want to give you a topic, right? Like a young girl saying, well, I got pregnant, I'm not going to tell my parents that I'm thinking about having an abortion. Guess who they ask? Their 17-year-old friend, what should I do? That's dangerous, people, right? That's scary. So I'm talking to a kid, his name's Taylor Nunez, and we work with kids, and he's a college graduate who wants to start speaking. I want to tell you his story. I think life's all built up in stories. Let me tell you his story. So Taylor was a phenomenal quarterback in high school. And unfortunately, quarterbacks aren't built the same way as defensive linemen. And so he was a good quarterback. He went to Texas Tech. And when he showed up at Texas Tech, they're like, yeah, we don't need any quarterbacks. We've got great quarterbacks here, right? Isn't there a quarterback place for the Chiefs from Texas Tech? The Chiefs fans out there? Patrick Mahomes, right? He's from Texas Tech. So I think he showed up around the same time as Mr. Mahomes. So obviously, if you're watching football, you know they didn't need somebody else. So they told him, we'll let you walk on, and you can be a defensive lineman. Well, soaking wet, he weighed like 180, so that wasn't going to be a good situation. In 2 years, he gained 70 pounds, weight room, protein shakes, and probably some peanut butter, I guess. A lot of just eating every day. That's all he did was eat, work out, eat, work out. He makes the team. They give him scholarship. His senior year, he's the man now. He's going to start. He's nearing his first game. He gets a phone call. It's his dad. His dad usually calls him near game day to encourage him. Hey, you're going to do great, son. You're going to do this. He says, Taylor, I need you to sit down. I got to tell you something. Okay, Dad, what's going on? Just found out I got cancer, terminal cancer. So Taylor said it was extremely shocking, right? He's getting ready to go out and play his first game at that weekend, that Saturday, where he's the man, right? He's been waiting for this moment. And now his dad has cancer. He's got terminal cancer. He's going to die. He's telling him he's going to die. If a miracle didn't happen, I'm dying. So Taylor tells me, this is what his words are. I'm still in his words, but he said, Chris, in this moment, I had to fall back on my training. How I trained and practiced at Texas Tech is what I had to fall back on. Because I couldn't even get my mind to a place. I'm getting ready to run out here and play Texas A&M and try and beat Johnny Manziel and try and win this football game. I couldn't get my mind there, so all I did was just like, well, I know how I trained, and I trained really hard. And young people, if you think about it, that's where you're at right now. You're in training mode. You're being trained. The reason why you love Miss Miller so much is because she trained you. The reason why you honor these other teachers is because they trained you. They spoke into your life. They were intentional about how to train you. Because they know that when you get in a defining moment of life, what do we fall back on? Is training. And the story doesn't end for Taylor. Taylor finds out at the end of his senior year that his girlfriend's pregnant. Yellow. What do we do now? Just got a degree, trying to find an entry-level job. I don't know how difficult that is. I got a degree, but no experience. Yeah, we need somebody with experience. We need somebody with masters. It's tough, right? The day, 3 days after he finds out that he's pregnant, he's going to have the first kid, his dad dies. So it's like, hey, I found him, your grandpa passes away. Dad, like what he tells his dad. He tells his dad, Dad, how am I going to know how to raise my boy? And his dad said, you're going to fall back on your training. I've trained you your whole life how to be a great father. I trained you in what God is going to do for you. And God is your father now that I'm leaving. He dies. A year later, after having the baby dies. So in the span of 2 years, this boy, Taylor Nunez, has some of the most defining moments in his life, the most traumatic moments in his life. And look, I get it. Like, this is a National Honor Society. The idea is that we are training for what's going to happen in the future. He says, I fall back on my training. I learned my dad talked to me. I got into my scripture. I read the word, and he fell back on his training. So what I tell you is that in order to earn the greatest story ever told, we have to be intentional with our training. I think I talked to the soccer guys today, and I was just telling them that they have kind of a gap of 2 weeks. There's a guy named Tim Tebow. Who knows Tim Tebow? I know Tim Tebow. About 4 people. That's good. Okay. Participation for sure. Tim Tebow said when he was about 15 years old, Dad, I want to build a weight room in the barn. It's like, okay, Tim, let's do it. He said, I want to start lifting 2 times a day. Well, why? He said, because, I want you to hear this. He said, I know that he's somewhere out there, and he's training when I'm not, and I want to be ready. So if I train 2 times a day, I'm training more than him. And him's metaphorical, right? In his mind, it was the player he's going to play against. But in our lives, we have to train for whatever's out there that's preparing to come into our lives. God never told us that when we became Christians that life is going to be easy. I would almost say quite the opposite, because we have God in our lives, we can overcome so much more than people in the world. We're not trying to fill this God-shaped hole in our heart. We have that. So we fall back on our training. The third way to earn a great life story is we have to chase purpose, not riches. This is a hard one. We ask our young people who they look up to. Most of the time it's a professional athlete, a professional rapper, or a businessman that's very successful and has some money. And the Bible tells us that the root of all evil is the love of money, but it doesn't say we can't have money. So we see these lives, and I want young people, I want to take a minute to just talk about social media, just for a quick second, and I'm not being your parent, I just want you to think about this. Social media is the highlight reel of your life. We say it all the time. Social media is the highlight reel of your life. You post the greatest moments of your life, you post the best trips of your life, you post the best things of your life. It's the highlight reel. It's not real life. If you think about an iceberg, we only see the top, we don't see the bottom. When you think about LeBron James, we don't see how many nights that he lost and that he cried and that he wept. We don't see how many times he had to go to the gym by himself with nobody around. We don't see how many times he had to take 1,000 jump shots. We don't see how many times that he missed the game winner. We don't see that. That's the bottom of the iceberg. All we see is fame and money and wealth. I want to tell you a story in the Bible that I know you'll know, and I want you to think like a child, and here's what happens when I tell the story, is that anybody that's ever heard the story, they click, okay, this is the time I can tune out. Now, I'm doing well, I think, because I don't see any cell phones out yet, and that's typically when I know I'm failing. So give this speech in a school of 800 kids, they're playing Fortnite, they're tweeting, so thank you so much for not being on your phones. You're respectful, I appreciate that. It's usually actually parents that are on the phones first, so I hope I'm not doing right now. So the story is of this young shepherd boy, and he tends a flock. And he has to fight off bears, and he has to fight off lions to protect his flock, because they can't protect themselves. He takes food one day to his brothers and all the army. And there's this beast of a man. I think you've heard the story. Beast of a man, giant of a man, that says, if anyone defeats me, anyone steps out and defeats me, you will win the battle. This little shepherd boy is like, I'll do it. Now, if you think about the story, I don't know if you know, but at this point in David's life, he's already been anointed king. He doesn't need to fight the battle. He doesn't need to defeat Goliath. He's going to be the king. So for some of you, look, you've already accomplished such a great feat. You're going to do great things in your life. You're destined for greatness, and you should know that. That's me speaking into your life. You've already achieved something that very few people do. I'm being honest with you. So I know that's the culture here at College Heights, that we have great academics, and you guys do a great job, and it's going to set you up for a lot of success. But don't get satisfied. So David tells King Saul, hey, I'm going to defeat Goliath. And he said, here's all the armor, here's the sword. I don't need any of that stuff. I just need the sling and these 3 rocks. I'm going to go out 3 stones. I kill Goliath, and the Philistines are over, and we win, right? But the point of the story is that David didn't chase wealth. He didn't chase riches. I bet David didn't know how many followers he would have ever had on Instagram, because he didn't care. He chased purpose. And purpose was to protect those that couldn't protect themselves. Remember, he protected the flock that couldn't protect themselves. He protected his brothers and his family. He was chasing purpose instead of riches. Because he knew riches wither and they die, and I don't get to take them with me. But man, purpose, if I have a purpose, I get to impact lives. So I want you to really think about these 3 things. What's my belief system? What stories have I told myself? What stories am I telling myself? Can I be more aware of who I am every day? I'm going to fall back on my training, so when I train, I better train hard. Training is not the time to take a break, to breathe. Training is the time when you get better than him that's out there, that situation that you're going to encounter. Whether it be tragedy, or whether it be that job interview, whether it be the opportunity that you have. And the third thing is chase purpose, not riches. So this room is really special for me. It was set up quite different. There was a man in Joplin this is my last story, so. There's a man in Joplin that was born with a hole in his heart. And this man, after being born with a hole in his heart, his biological father said, I don't want you. So he goes with mom, marries a new man, and he becomes adopted. And this new man that adopted him didn't give much affirmation. He didn't speak into his life. He was not intentional about telling him, you're great, you're going to do great things in your life. He didn't do that. And as this man grew up, At 14, he had open heart surgery. In fact, he was one of the first open heart surgeons in the state of Missouri ever. They put a mesh lining in his heart to make sure that it worked properly, fix the valves. It goes that after he had the surgery done, like 3 days later, he showed up to 2-a-day practices. Like what someone wants to earn their life story. Wants to play football. So he goes and plays football. He grows up. He finds out that he's going to have a kid. It's the year he graduates high school, he's in college, taking 9 classes, doesn't work out. Their first kid that they have, they both like, I can't go to college, we got to raise this kid. Their first Christmas, they got winter coats for Christmas, because they didn't have any money for anything. They didn't want to freeze to them. Barely had enough to pay the heating. They had 3 beautiful children. They chose to put them into an important school to make them grow and want to make sure Christ was in their life. And then after all the kids graduated, he went and talked to his biological father, and his biological father died and went to his funeral. And then this man, at the young age of 44, 9 years removed, passes away suddenly. The reason why this is special is, at that funeral that day, I sat right about there, because it was my dad. And I remember walking up to the stage, and I was like, I want to say something. And they're like, aren't you too sad? I'm like, no, I have to say something. And I looked in the room, and the room was set up much different. But if you see, there's people standing in the back. We had seats all on this side, and seats all on this side, and there were still people sitting in the back, and there were people sitting out the hall, and all the doors were open so they could hear. And I remember grabbing the mic. I remember my mom crying, and my sister crying, everyone's bawling their eyes out, and I tell myself, God, I need you to not have me cry right now. I need to get this message out. And this is what I said. I said, there was a man that I love so much, who was my best friend, that's my dad. I want you to look left, and I want you to look right, and I want you to look at what one man can do in their lifetime and impact their lives. I remember about a year after he passed, I went to the gravestone, and I'm looking at it, and it says, beloved father, beloved son, beloved friend. And it strikes me, that if at the end of our lives, that's what we're remembered as, a friend, a father, a husband, a son, a daughter, a mother, if that's what we're remembered as, then why are we working so hard for net worth? Why are we working so hard for that title? I've never seen a tombstone in my entire life that said, net worth this, return on investments this, size square foot of home this, what kind of car they drove. Never seen it, because it doesn't matter in the end. What it says is beloved father, beloved son. So I want you to understand that if you want to earn the greatest life story ever told, it's about impact. It's about giving back. It's about including people in your life that make you better and infusing yourself in places that make people better. And I think what's incredible about tonight is you have one generation, and then you have another generation, and then you have another generation all in the same room. So you have an opportunity to impact young people's lives. You have an opportunity to seek out mentors that are going to help impact your life, like Mrs. Miller. You've got to find people in your life that make you better. So tonight, when you go home, you're not going to remember half that stuff. I get it. But tonight when you go home, this is what I want you to think about. Is me accomplishing National Honor Society, something I worked so hard for, so many sleepless nights, so much determination and discipline, so many times telling my friends no, maybe your parents told you no, so many times I had to tell them no to make sure I worked on my homework, right? Scholastic importance. Is this going to be the beginning of a great life story? Or is this going to be the end? You're going to be like, yeah, I accomplished that, and then 20 years from now you're going to look back and be like, what if? What if I did more with that? What if that was the catalyst for the great life story that I'm about to earn?